Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-76 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
It's the worst day of the year for a head baseball coach. And just a lot of emotions right now. Such a good group of kids that I got out there that did some pretty remarkable things for the College of Charleston's baseball program over the last couple of years. And, it's tough.
And good evening, everyone. Welcome into Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network from downtown Columbia. Back on Main Street, Phil Kornbluth here, along with Empty Chairs, Professor Tom Hayes, Kevin McCrary. They're both away tonight. Steak Man is here, Graham Pope, behind the bulletproof glass once again tonight, along with Larkin Belton. So we are well established behind the scenes tonight with two very capable hands back there. 800-956-7266. is our phone number here on Sports Talk. Love to hear from you tonight. Going to talk some football with Wofford coach Mike Ayers in our second hour. Catch up with the Wofford coach on spring practice and looking ahead to the start of fall practice, which will be here, of course, before we know it. And want to continue to talk about Clemson baseball as that situation continues to just sort of hang over everybody up in the upstate and around the state, if you're a Clemson fan or a baseball fan in general, because, if something were to happen in that job, it possibly could have a domino effect in our state with other coaches. So just because something happens at Clemson does not mean it won't impact some other school in our state, because, look, if Coach Leggett does indeed leave his post at Clemson, there is that possibility of Monty Lee as a candidate to replace him at Clemson. That would open up the College of Charleston job, and you see how the dominoes begin to fall when that happens. But right now, nothing has come out of Clemson as far as anything about Jack Leggett's coaching future there. I still find it, and just like at this time last year, I still find it hard to talk about this situation in that way, because for being such a successful coach and having a team once again in the NCAA tournament, it's hard to believe that he's in a position where he's possibly fighting for his job again this year after having gone through it last year. And I'd like to hear why there are some Clemson fans, and they are Clemson fans, and they are passionate about their team and about their school. I'd like to know what their reason is for wanting a replacement in the head coaching job at Clemson. What is it that you expect of your baseball program? Why is making the NCAA tournament every year not good enough? And taking your chances when you get into the tournament that you're going to win some games. It's not going to happen every year in baseball. We all know that. Tell me why. We'll be right back. Phone number 800-956-7266. Lines are open if you want to jump on the program here early and share your thoughts about anything that we have been talking about recently or anything that you want to bring up. Start talking a little more about college football and the season ahead. And will the Gamecocks be a surprise this year in the SEC? Will Clemson live up to expectations? And what are those expectations for Clemson when you consider that we went over the Phil Steele All-American team yesterday, and no Tigers were on that. Now, they did have several players on his All-ACC team, but do they have the talent with the players that they lost, especially on the defensive side? I was looking at their recently released preseason depth chart on the defense, and, you know, I've been very high on this Clemson team in the offseason, especially thinking about the offensive side. But on the defensive side, I've got to kind of take a look at it like South Carolina from last year. You know, we thought the Gamecocks were not going to miss a beat on defense last year, and they missed many beats because of the players that they lost. And we're talking about the likes of Clowney and et cetera. Similarly, Clemson has lost that kind of talent off their defense. They're hoping that their front 11 is going to be good enough to do the job. The backs, however, pretty much across the board are pretty inexperienced. And they say talented, but inexperienced. And so should a frontliner go down, how big of a loss is that going to be for Clemson on defense? And I wonder how good they're going to be. Front 11 pretty good, but 12 through 17 or 18 on that defensive depth chart, how much of the drop-off will there be? Because last year they were so talented and so deep. A lot of the guys who are starting now were very capable backups last year, and it gave Clemson that extra edge on defense. As I think about it here, I wonder what kind of how big of a step back Clemson's defense will take this year. Maybe it's pretty much inevitable when you think about it. I mean, I know you like most of the starting 11 that they will trot out there, but Kevin Dodd has got to prove himself at a defensive end spot. I mean, he's been a seldom used player and been a little erratic as a player. So he's a frontliner that's got to show what he can do. And there are some others on that defense as well. Their linebackers, of course, you lose two terrific linebackers, an NFL guy, of course, and Anthony. The guys stepping in have played some, but how much of a drop-off is there going to be from those linebackers to the ones stepping in now? And are USC's linebackers – would you now take USC's linebackers over Clemson's? Would you take the combination of Jonathan Walton and Sky Moore over Goodson and Boulware, let's say, at Clemson? Something to think about, because now South Carolina's linebackers, they're going into their third year, and they've played a lot of football now, much like Clemson's departed linebackers had played a lot of football by the time they got to their junior and senior seasons. Now, South Carolina linebackers have played a lot of football going into this season. And that's one of the differences I think you're going to see in South Carolina's defense this year. It's not just the improved talent. I don't think there's any question that they're going to be improved talent-wise. They're going to be older. The number of incoming guys are junior college guys or a prep school guy like Dexter Weidman. So these aren't going to be high school players or even redshirt freshmen. These are going to be 21 and 22-year-old men, guys with beards. And that's a good sign. That's a good sign for defense. If you've got a lot of beards on defense and they got some talent, I think you got a chance to have a pretty good defense. Thoughts on that and other things? Jack Leggett, does he stay or does he go at Clemson? What is your prediction on that? Super Regionals coming up. Talk about that as well. 800-956-7266. Of course, nationally, we've got the NBA Finals tipping off in, 2 more days? Who do you like? You like the Warriors or you like the Cavaliers? Boy, I'm going to lean towards the Cavaliers with this. They have the singular greatest player on the court at any time in LeBron. And let's face it, he can get anywhere he wants at any time and get any shot that he wants at any time, regardless of the defense. And the supporting cast isn't too bad. It's too bad that Kevin Love is not available. I'm going with Cleveland, even though and the way the NBA does it with their 2-3-2 arrangement, it really gives the team that is not that doesn't have home court to start. It really gives them an advantage. If you can go out there and steal a game, you can go home and close it and not even go back on the road. So I will lean towards the Cavaliers. All right, couple of quick notes. As if Clemson baseball doesn't have enough to worry about, their fine pitcher Clayton Schmidt announced today on Twitter that he has been diagnosed with cancer. He wrote the following: yesterday, I was sclerosing lymphoma. It's just another path that God has sent me down that we didn't plan on. It is something that they caught early, and it's treatable with chemo and therapy. We are going to be surrounded by the best of the best. Thank you, everyone, for your love and support, and can't wait to start kicking cancer's ass on my own front. You go get them there, Clark. You hate to hear that for any young person to go through that, but he is young. He's an athlete. They caught it early. Those are all good particular case. We certainly wish him the very best. What else did I want to mention to you here? Former Clemson women's basketball player Denisha Provo is going to Utah. 5'11" shooting guard. She'll have to redshirt this coming season, 3 years of eligibility. She also looked at Winthrop, Michigan State, Dayton, Indiana, and Kansas. She was a big-time recruit for Clemson when she went there, but decided to leave after her season at Clemson. She is a native of Canada. All right, let's jump to the phones. 800-956-7266 is the number. And, is that correct? We're going to do him this early? Steak Man, we're going to do him. Has he got through the filters this early? All right. We interrupt our program to welcome in the de facto. I don't want to hear all the radios being turned off now simply because of this. The de facto mayor of the city of Charleston, the bad boy by the bay, the ninja of the night, the pontiff of the port city, the queen of the cowboy crybabies, and the person who came in dead last in the recent Charleston Bridge run. Took him 4 days to make it across the bridge, but he did finish. It's not Jim Rome. He's busy doing a lousy program on Showtime. It's J. Rome, who will now do a lousy program on Sports Talk.
Hey, that last place kind of reminds you of Lindsey Graham's campaign, huh?
Boom, boom. Are you voting for Lindsey, by the way?
Are you kidding, by the way?
It's too early to make a decision, Jerome. Man, you got to have an open mind and listen to the candidates and, look at everything they have to offer.
So we've spoken to each other many times over the years.
Yes.
If you don't have a handle on where I lean, then you don't know me very well.
That's what scares me.
Pretty much got me.
That's what scares me. That really concerns me. Hey, Jerome, we're going to have to hold you over during the break. That's what you get for calling up so close to a break. Hang on, and we'll get back to you. Other callers as well. We got a lot on the table. Clemson defense. How much of a step back will they take in 15? Jack Leggett. Does he survive this time at Clemson? Who do you like in the NBA Finals? We'll be right back. right, before we go, just saw where the Panthers and Cam Newton have agreed on a 5-year extension, $100 million for him. That's about half what Auburn paid him, wasn't it? Boom, boom. That. And also, David Hood up at TigerNet, our buddy, reported today that Clemson baseball coaches were meeting today with Dan Radakovich. So meetings apparently taking place. Also, it was reported today by the Clemson Insider that a couple of Tiger players went over to meet with Radakovich as well. I think it was it Krieger and Duggar, I think, went over there to meet with the AD to make their argument for retain or not retain?
I'm thinking not going to be retained.
Ooh.
But you know what? Seniority has its privileges, so we'll just have to wait and see about that one.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
By the way, tell LeBron, I hope you've been listening to the media the last week or so, because they've completely dismissed you and written your team off as if to say, why are you even bothering? I mean, the East is weak. The West is strong. I mean, sometimes it's good to be an underdog, and I can't wait to see what type of response comes from their side, because all they talk about is Golden State and Steph Curry and Steve Kerr's a great coach, and your coach is a nobody. Nobody even knows where this guy came from. He's just riding your coattails. Hey,
well,
how many
true.
games are going to be?
It's true.
You're
lucky. How good? How good is I can't? How good is I can't remember his name now at Miami. I want to say Spinola. That's not it. Spoelstra, yeah.
Spoelstra.
Boy, how good a coach is he now after LeBron's gone, huh? Come on. How good would Phil Jackson be without Michael, without Kobe, without Shaq? I mean, come on.
Sometimes it's good to be an underdog. We're going to see how you're going to respond now that you're the underdog, LeBron. You're not the king this time. They're already crowding Golden State. Like Dennis Cleveland said, go ahead and crowd them.
I don't know. I you're right. You know, Golden State's awfully talented, and they got some matchups that'll work in their benefit against Cleveland. I think. I would imagine that Green is going to draw the defensive assignment on LeBron, at least body wise. He kind of is the closest thing they have to a good matchup.
They don't respect Cleveland at all, okay? Mm-hmm. Not one iota. I don't care what they say publicly. Privately, they'll say, we're going to run this team into the ground. They don't respect Cleveland. They don't respect LeBron. I don't care what they say. And by the way, Phil, your granddaughter's going to be so proud of you when you vote for our first woman president. Because she's going to say, hey, granddaddy, maybe one day I can be president too. Right, Phil?
You really want that, Jerome? You want a woman to be president?
It could be your granddaughter being president.
I don't think I'd want my granddaughter to be president, to be quite honest with you. But thank you for the thought anyway, Jerome. We'll be back. More calls coming up. 800-956-7266, the number here on Sports Talk. Sports Talk on a Tuesday night from downtown Columbia, Main Street. Sports Talk, your Sports Talk show of Main Street, South Carolina. 800-956-7266 is our phone number. Email talkback at sportstalksc.com. Don't forget the live stream at the bottom of the page. Our website is sportstalksc.com. There's a live video stream for you and a live audio stream for you as well. If you can't catch us over the airwaves, you can catch us that way most of the time, if not all the time. On Twitter, at Sports Talk SC, and on Facebook, Sports Talk Radio Network. Speaking of our website, the poll question of the week is, who is the college baseball player of the year in South Carolina? USC's Kyle Martin continues to lead the voting with 48%. Clemson's Matthew Crownover is second at 23.2%, but he's only a vote ahead of right-hander Taylor Clark from the College of Charleston. So if you have not voted in our poll for the baseball player of the year in South Carolina, do so. There's also a place for you to write in someone of your own choosing. We give you that option as well. A couple of other things I want to mention. The match play portion of the golf championships taking place today down in Florida. In the quarterfinal round, LSU beat Vanderbilt 3-1 and a tie. Georgia, a winner over South Florida, and that was 4-1. Also, Illinois advanced. Illinois won 3-2 over UCLA. Boy, Illinois all of a sudden has a red-hot athletic program with their baseball team and their golf team. And now my page just went blank on me. Oh, here we go. And Southern Cal defeated Texas 3-0-2. 3 matches won and 2 were halved. And so Southern Cal advances. Quarterfinals. Now they played the semifinals, or they are playing the semifinals as we speak. And right now LSU is leading Georgia. LSU is up with 3. Let's see. I guess all the matches are ongoing. So they lead in 3. Georgia leads in 1, and there's 1 tie. Illinois and Southern Cal, they are all even as they play in their match. So that's the semifinal round. Obviously, the winner, the 2 winners there will advance to play for the championship tomorrow. And also wanted to mention to you that what else did I want to mention to you? The College Football Hall of Fame ballot is out, and it includes Jim Carlin and Danny Ford. Your thoughts on that? Do those two deserve to be voted into the College Football Hall of Fame? A lot of folks on the ballot in terms of both players and coaches. And this is the National Football Foundation and College Hall of Fame. 76 players and 5 coaches from the Bowl Division, 92 players and 27 coaches from the divisional ranks. And again, Jim Carlin and Danny Ford are on the list for the coaches. Do you think either deserves to be in the Hall of Fame? Ford won. Carlin built 3 pretty good programs: West Virginia, Texas Tech, South Carolina. Thoughts on that as well? 800-956-7266. We go back to your phone calls, and it's Andy in Columbia listening to us on The Point, 1470 AM, 95.9 FM. Welcome in, Andy. How are you?
Good evening there, Mr. Kornblut. I'm doing fine. How about yourself?
Terrific.
I just thought I needed to call and correct you on something.
Go ahead.
The NBA Finals are no longer 2-3-2. Yes.
Oh, I did not know that.
2-1-1-1. So.
When did they change that?
I think it was last year.
Okay. Well, then that takes away a little bit of what I saw as a positive for Cleveland. Still, I'll go with the Cavaliers. And you you're a Knicks fan. What in the hell? How do you know anything about the NBA Finals?
Just like a Boston Celtic fan would know.
Excuse
you
me.
don't know anything. We know a little bit more.
We played recently in the NBA Finals a couple of times in the last 10 years. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, the Knicks are about as far away from the NBA Finals as I am from a date with Danica Patrick.
Well, hopefully
and
one
that's
day
a full backstretch.
Hopefully one day soon we'll be closer, and you'll be closer, and you'll be closer to that date. But,
no, that ain't happening. And I think
well,
you're a generation away from the NBA Finals. I mean, seriously, your team is your team turmoil.
We'll see. Just be patient.
Well, who you got? Who you got?
But looks like we're gonna have a ton of money to spend. So we'll have to see what happens. I'm not gonna run out there and say we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. But we'll see how it all plays out. Just like everybody thought how bad the Mets were gonna be. So far, so good. I mean,
and the Yankees. Hey! Crosstown, the Yankees are hanging in there. Beat King Felix like a drum last night.
It's a great day for New York. Both teams are in first place.
I'm so proud to be a New Yorker.
Oh, yeah, right.
Growing up in the Bedford-Stuyvesant section. Where'd you grow up?
Queens.
I was in Bedford-Stuyvesant.
Yeah, right.
Not far from Mike Tyson.
Yeah, is that what they called Dillon County?
Bedford-Stuyvesant South. All right, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Good to hear from you. Let's continue with our phone calls as we go to Chris. You say Chris in Lancaster? Okay, Chris, welcome in. Listening to us out of Lancaster Rock Hill, 107.1 FM. And his line has dropped momentarily, so hopefully we'll get him reconnected here in a moment. 800-956-7266. Our good friend Langston Moore, former Gamecock defensive lineman, has got his third annual Eat to Win football camp coming up. And it's going to be June 18th? June 18th from 9 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Let me double check that date here. Make that June 13th. June 13th from 9 to 2:30. Free one-day camp, providing attendees with information about living a healthy lifestyle and give local youth the opportunity to interact with both college and former NFL players. This is for ages 7 through 17. And it's a great camp. He does a tremendous job. It's a way for him to give back to the community as well. For more information, you can email them, Eat to Win. That's the word eat, the number 2, the word win, and camp all together. Eat to Win camp at gmail.com. All right, back to the phones. And this is Chris in Lancaster, correct? Hey, Chris, welcome into Sports Talk tonight. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing, Phil?
Good, man. Good.
Just to comment on you're talking about Clemson defense earlier. I am a Tiger fan, and I think it's going to drop. Definitely, it'll drop off some. I still think we'll be a top 15 defense in the country, though. I think we just got too much talent coming in and go along with the talent we had. Our offense, I'm not too worried about it. It'll be top 10 in the country. I just think Dabo's got something going good at Clemson. The only game I'm really worried about is going to Louisville. Other than that, I think we can take care of business. I'll hang up with 2 comments.
Well, as far as the defense goes, and again, you got a lot of players in key positions, key backup roles that, until they play and show us what they've got, all we can do is take the coach's words that they're good players. I mean, do you have a feel for Richard Jurgen if he has to go in and play at defensive end and some others? We'll talk more about this coming up. All right, we'll get back to that Clemson football talk in just a little bit. Right now, time for the Braves reports. Brought to you by Play It Again Sports off Bauer Parkway in Columbia, by Founders Federal Credit Union, helping South Carolinians attain their financial goals. I'll be at Founders Federal Credit Union headquarters tomorrow in Lancaster. Johnny Roscoe's putting together a forum involving college and high school football coaches and several speakers, and he has invited me to speak there, so I look forward to being there for that. Also, Mattress by Appointment brings you Mike Morgan. Real simple. You call and you save 50 to 80% on premium mattress sets. Call 803-530-8549. Mike joins us now, and boy, the win at San Francisco to close out that series, and then they roll into Phoenix and they dispatch the Diamondbacks with ease last night, 8-1. So good start to the new month.
Yeah, good start on the mound, too, from Alex Wood. That really set the tone, a positive one. With Tehran kind of struggling this year and maybe perhaps having to reinvent himself with his velo down quite a bit from what it's been the last couple of years. Guys like Wood, guys like Shelby Miller tonight, maybe Fultonevich, who I think still has a chance to be a very good starter for a long time to come. And the rotations, it's kind of coming together for the most part. And offensively, as we've talked about, the Braves are getting contributions from guys that, let's face it, some we didn't hear about when the season started. Others we didn't have very high expectations to begin with. So it's been a positive approach. Continue to get a little bit better each week and try to stay above 500 the rest of the way. Well, with Shelby Miller going tonight, they can clinch at least a winning road trip if they can win this game tonight. And that's pretty impressive when you have to go to L.A., San Francisco, and then to Phoenix. Freddie Freeman, 3 hits last night. Boy, he loves hitting out at Chase Field at Arizona. Yeah, the home run he hit was crushed. And Freeman has been, you've heard me say this now for a number of years, and I've watched this guy blossom from AAA to spring training and to making the team as a starter. He is the guy that I never worry about. I really he'll be in a slump every now and then, a mini slump usually. But at the end of the year, the numbers are going to be there. The production is going to be there. And right now, he's throwing up balls. He's driving the ball well. I'm still amazed that teams pitch to him, quite frankly. When I look at that lineup, I wouldn't give him anything good to hit. I'd make somebody else beat me. But major league pitchers, there's a lot of bravado with these guys. And so even though you and I might be screaming at the TV, like, why in the world would they pitch to Freeman? They like the challenge. They like the challenge, and they want to go after him. But more often than not, when you do, Freddie's going to hurt you over the course of 4 or 5 plate appearances. He certainly did that last night. What's the update on Cameron Maben? Scratch last night, a mild left groin strain. What's the prognosis for him tonight? Well, as you know, Phil, the groin can be a very delicate area. I've heard that. Yes. I don't think it's overly serious, but in all seriousness, it is a delicate area where if you come back too soon, you re-aggravate it, and then you're right back where you started, if not worse. So I don't think it's DL worthy, but I do think it's very much day to day. Yeah. When it comes to the groin, I think then that's an area of the body that I'm well versed with. I think it all depends on how hard you develop it and build it up and strengthen it. Yes. Over the years. From what I understand, you have much practice in that area. Anyway, you did Gainesville this past weekend, the regional there, and boy, what a super regional showdown coming up in the state of Florida, huh? That's whenever they had South Carolina and Clemson together in the same arrangement, we were hoping that we'd get those two in a super regional, and didn't happen. Now we're going to get Florida and Florida State down there. That's going to be huge. Well, it will be. It might be the one thing that ignites the crowds there. I working Louisville 2 years ago, Florida State a super 2 years ago, last year Ole Miss in a regional. I've seen some great raucous crowds that we've been able to broadcast in front of. Gainesville doesn't have that. It really makes you appreciate what programs like South Carolina and Clemson do have, because when they have a regional, they're going to pack it. it's going to be an unbelievable atmosphere. But I'll tell you what Florida does have. They have, in my estimation, the most talented team in the country, and I've seen them all in the SEC. They have the best defense I've ever seen in 16 years of calling college baseball. They're going to be a really, really tough out. I think they win that, and I wouldn't want to play them in Omaha.
Mike, we thank you very much, my friend. Have yourselves a great night, or have yourself a great night. If you got somebody there with you, have yourselves a great night. And we'll talk to you tomorrow. Our Braves Report with Mike Morgan. Back in a moment. All right, to the recruiting report we go on this Tuesday night. Linebacker Aaron Hansford is 6'2", 210, Washington, D.C. He owns a USC offer, and he said that Gamecock linebackers coach Kirk Bodkin is making a strong push for him. They talk a lot, and he likes Bodkin. Bodkin's told him they could use him as an outside backer or strong safety. He covers receivers well, and he blitzes off the edge well. He says he has interest in the Gamecocks, but he's got to learn more. Heavily recruited prospect, Ohio State, Michigan State, Penn State, Georgia, Kentucky, Maryland, Virginia Tech, Duke, North Carolina, some of the other offers. Has not cut his list, still investigating the programs to learn more. He's been to Ohio State, Penn State, and Duke, planning a summer visit along the East Coast with stops at North Carolina, Duke, USC, Georgia, possibly Kentucky, though technically Kentucky's not on the East Coast. He does have family in South Carolina. And is that is correct statement that Kentucky does not touch the Atlantic Ocean. Thus, it is not on the East Coast. It's a landlocked state if you didn't pass geography in grammar school. Anyway, he's planning on taking the majority of his official visits and will make his decision after the season. There is no favorite. Clemson put out another 2016 offer Monday. It went to offensive lineman Tremaine Ancrum Jr., 6'2", 258, Powder Springs, Georgia. Also has offers from Wake Forest, Syracuse, Nebraska, Illinois, Georgia, Colorado, Boston College, Arizona State. USC target receiver Brad Hawkins Jr. of Camden, New Jersey, picked up an offer from Arizona. 2017 offensive tackle Tony Gray from Lawrenceville, Georgia, will visit Clemson tomorrow. 2018 defensive back Tyreek Johnson of Jacksonville will visit North Carolina. That's today. And Clemson and USC on Wednesday. There you go, recruiting-wise on this Tuesday night. Now, don't forget, you can always check out our recruiting information on our website, sportstalksc.com. And if you are addicted to Twitter and just hang out on Twitter all the time and you want to check out our recruiting, use the hashtag STRecruiting, and that'll take you to, for you old coots out there, the hashtag. That's the number sign on your keyboard or on your smartphone. Hashtag or number sign or pound, also known as pound. Yes, I got that, pound. All right, coming up on the top of the hour break, we'll talk more football in our next hour, catch you up on other things going on. Mike Ayers from Wofford, talk with him about the Terriers. Also a visit from our good friend over at Darlington as we talk a little bit of racing after this past weekend. Chip Wild will be with us as well. But I want to get back into some of the conversation about Clemson's defense in particular and how much, if at all, the Tiger defense is going to back up. Like the front 11, can't argue about that. Have some concerns, though, about players 12 through, you name the number, just because of the inexperience factor coming into play. Top of the hour break, we'll be back.
Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
Okay, we're back. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. Coach Mike Ayers of Wofford coming up in just a few minutes. Stay tuned for that. LSU has beaten Georgia at the golf championships 3-1-1, so they advance to the finals. Waiting for the other match to be completed between Illinois and Southern Cal, and they are all square. Those two teams are. And they have got 3 matches ongoing. One is through 14 holes and 2 are through 16 holes. 2 other matches have been split, so they are all square at this point, Illinois and Southern Cal. The Super Regionals, of course, are already set. You heard Monty Lee, College of Charleston coach, at the opening of the broadcast, lamenting the fact that it was very painful to lose, and sorry to see this team disband. Loved that team, he said. Here are the times for the first games of the Super Regionals on Friday. You've got Maryland at Virginia. That's at 4 o'clock. VCU at Miami. That'll be at noon. Florida State at Florida. That'll be at 7:30. And then on Saturday, Cal State Fullerton at Louisville. That'll be at 11 o'clock. And for some reason, I don't have the rest of the Super Regionals. Doggone it. Why is that, Steak Man? I have no idea. So I can find those real quick. You probably already know them anyway, but I thought I'd pass it along. Are you watching the softball finals at all, by the way?
Are you talking?
I'm just sort of talking in general.
No, not at all.
Just
no
talking. I'm just talking to myself.
I think Larkin was telling me earlier that Florida's involved yet again, which I guess is surprising. You flip through ESPN with their 6 or 7 channels. You're pretty much going to see Florida every year, so that wouldn't surprise me at all if they're on softball.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Now back to my rundown of the Super Regionals. Maryland at Virginia. That's going to be on Friday, 4:30. VCU at Miami, Florida State at Florida. Then Saturday, Louisiana Lafayette at LSU at 8 o'clock. Texas A&M at TCU. Would you see how TCU rallied to beat NC State? They were down 8-1 in the 8th inning.
Wow. And
came back to win in 10. Down 7 runs in the 8th inning and came back to win in 10. Texas A&M at TCU, 3 o'clock. Vandy at Illinois. Illinois is 58-1. That's 50-8-1. They're having one of those years that South Carolina had a few years ago, but didn't get to Omaha when they won, 55 games, I think it was.
50-6, I believe, or something like that.
Yeah. And Fullerton at Louisville, that'll be 11 in the morning. Thank you, ESPN. 11 in the morning, Cal State Fullerton at Louisville on Saturday in the first game of their Super Regional. We'll be back in a moment. is SportsTalk here from Columbia. We thank you for being with us wherever you happen to be around the state of South Carolina. Let's talk some Wofford football. We welcome in the coach of the Terriers, Mike Ayers. Coach, how are you this evening?
Doing very well. How are you guys?
We're doing fine. You're keeping the skills sharp there in the martial arts. Been working out?
Well, we haven't been doing a whole lot of that. We've trying to do some strength training and some cardio, just to try to keep everything in line, I guess.
I know the feeling. All right. Well, first of all, you got Clemson to open up the season here in a few short weeks. Last year you guys went to Atlanta. You gave Georgia Tech fits. That really was a game that you were in there until late. So you think Dabo and Venables are up at night worried about what Wofford's going to bring to the table? They know what Wofford will bring to the table, but trying to stop it's a whole nother thing.
Well, the last time that we played, I think it was 2012, we went and played a really good game. Clemson, outstanding team, very well coached, but we had some things that worked for us, and we gave ourselves a chance. I think the score ended up, we got beat by 8. The thing that we've got to do against a team like Clemson, you got to be able to hang around, and for us to do that, we'll have to be really good offensively. The defense that they play, very explosive defense. They have big playmakers. I know that a lot of their playmakers are graduated, but teams like that, they just reload, and the guys that are going to be in there are going to be outstanding potential NFL guys as well. Defensively, you're facing an offensive scheme that is dynamic. They spread you all over the field, and all they're looking for is a missed tackle in space, and after that, their athletes do the rest. So it's always a challenge, but it's a great venue to play. I truly believe that our kids love playing at the FBS level, and the bigger the crowd, the better. I know that there'll be some Wofford folks there that are going to yell as loud as they can and be as supportive as they can. And it hopefully will be a day that we can play our best and they're a little bit off and maybe give ourselves a chance.
Sure. Well, we got some time before we really have to worry about that, but I know it's something to think about and drive everybody on your side of things to get ready for the season. Coming out of spring, you got your quarterbacks back from last year, the guys that kind of split the job up there. How do things look at quarterback coming out of spring?
Well, the good thing is we've got 4 guys that competed very well in spring, and that's always a plus. We feel confident that any one of the 4 can be very productive when they come in there. Evan Jacks last year had a great year until he sustained his injury. Then Michael Weimer came in. Michael did a fantastic job. Gave us an opportunity to win some more games, and gave us an opportunity, quite frankly, to compete for a Southern Conference championship. We were a little bit off towards the end. We played Furman. We thought that we had an opportunity in that game to win the game, but you have a turnover here and a missed tackle there, and all of a sudden it was a different deal. And then we come back the last game against Mercer, and Mercer was a quality football team, and we played them at home, and we played a great game. We ended up 6-5. That's not where we're usually at. We're usually better, but when you only have 2 seniors that played for you, I think there were some a lot of good things that came out of last season. A lot of those young guys are a year older. Conditioning, off-season training was pretty tough, and we challenged our guys to take it to another level as far as the mental toughness aspect, as far as understanding what the process is and adhering to the process. And we had early morning runs, and one morning it was 9 degrees, and one morning it's 2 inches of snow. So we went out no matter what, and we had I think the best spring that we've had since we've been here, and this is starting 28 years. So we've accomplished a lot. As you well know, it's going to take a lot of things to go right. You got to stay healthy. You got to make sure that your guys are holding their offense and their defense that we play, and special teams has got to be a big thing as well. So football is football, whether it's 42 years ago or whether it's going to be 2015. You got to block, you got to tackle, you got to be sound, and you got to play hard. And teams that do that on a consistent basis give themselves a chance to win.
Do you look for a guy like Lorenzo Long to have a particularly big year this year? He was right around 1,000 yards for you last season. You look for a big breakout year for him personally?
Well, he had a great year last year, and the thing that a lot of people miss on is that we're an option football team. So if people decide to take the fullback out of play, that they do that. So when you look at a guy that's almost at 1,000 yards, and he was a true sophomore, there's no doubt that he has the capabilities of being a guy that can do a lot better than he did last year, and he had a tremendous year last year for a young guy. We feel that during spring he understood the concepts a lot better. He understood where the hole was, and he understood if it was dark there, he knew where to go, and that helped him, I think, tremendously as far as getting some of the bigger runs that he was able to obtain in the spring scrimmages that we had.
You know, though, I think everybody's still looking for that guy. What was his name a couple of years ago? The stud running back you had?
Breitenstein.
Right, yeah.
Breitenstein.
I mean, I'm sure your fans are waiting for the next guy like that stud animal that just ran over people. And, do you feel like you have anybody like that?
Yeah, I think Zoe's one of those guys, Lorenzo. He has all the tools, and, it's just when you come into our offense, and in high school you played a completely different offense. It takes a while to learn it. And like I said, Breitenstein was a guy that played so much and did so well that a lot of guys just didn't get a whole lot of reps. Mm-hmm. And so you've got to get those guys to where they get in there and they see live reps. Last year you could see him. He got better and better as the season went along, and he again had a tremendous spring. I think he made a great deal of progress in the spring, and I look for him to have a great year. He's a guy that statue-wise, he's probably a 5'9" guy. He's 210 pounds, but he can squat over 600, and he benched over 400 in high school. So he's not the easiest guy to tackle. I promise you on that.
All right, Coach, hang on one second. Want to hold you over here for just a moment. We'll come back. A couple more minutes with Wofford's Mike Ayers here on Sports Talk. couple of more minutes with Wofford coach Mike Ayers here on Sports Talk as we recap the spring, look ahead to the fall with the Terriers opening up at Clemson in early September. Quick word on the defense, Coach. Terrific job last year against the run, but did not recover many fumbles. Forced some, but didn't recover many. Was that a point of emphasis in the spring to continue the good work against the run, but to create more fumbles and recover more fumbles?
Right. Coach Fuqua, our defensive coordinator, really emphasized the takeaways. And we had opportunities where the ball was on the ground and just didn't get it. We've tried to instill in them specific drills that make them more conscious and more aware of where the ball's at all times. Once the back has it, once the receiver has it, and I think when you look at the things that occurred again in spring practice, there was several opportunities that the ball went on the ground and was knocked loose, and we were getting the ball. So it was great. A lot of I think pluses as far as growth on defense. Last year we were young defense. We only had 2 seniors on there, both of them outstanding players for us. But when you're putting in some cases, true freshmen, there was a learning curve. And about the third game, I think big switch came on, and we really started playing good defense after that. So we feel good from a defensive perspective. I think when we competed well against each other. There was pluses and minuses on both sides. If you have one side that completely dominates, that's going to make you a little leery. But we were, getting as good as we got, and the offense would make a play, defense would come back, and they would make one. When we got into scrimmage situations, very competitive. Guys showing that they were out to win, and they were playing hard. So that's always a positive.
We wish you the best this summer. Enjoy a little relaxation here for a little bit. Look forward to seeing you in July and then into August. And, of course, leading up to that Clemson, a lot of fun. Coach, thanks for your time as always.
All right, you guys take care. Have a great summer.
You too, sir. Mike Ayers, head coach of the Wofford Terriers. And something else very interesting about their numbers. You don't see this very many places. This ratio. Wofford punted 37 times last season. Wofford went for it on fourth down 31 times last year. So as many fourth down snaps as punt snaps. And they converted 58% on fourth down. Their third down conversion number was 44%. So better on fourth down conversions than third down conversions. Of course, they had many more third down attempts. That's Mike Ayers. Back in a moment. And we're back, Sports Talk. Thanks again to Mike Ayers of Wofford for being with us tonight. Time to talk some NASCAR with Chip Wild, president of Darlington Raceway, as we do every Tuesday night following a Sprint Cup weekend. Good to have you with us, sir. Speaking of Sprint Cup weekend, what are you hearing behind the closed doors from headquarters about the negotiations for a new sponsor for next year? How's that coming along?
You know, they've located a number of prospects and had some initial conversations. The beauty of this process is we don't have to find a sponsor until 2017. Sprint's been a fantastic partner for a long time, and we got them for another year, but I know that they are hot and heavy in conversations with a number of companies about replacing them as the entitlement sponsor of the biggest form of motorsports in the United States.
So they are definitely set for 2016 Sprint. I thought when this was announced, I thought there was a chance that they might not be there in 2016. Definitely there for 2016?
Yeah, absolutely. They gave 2 years notice. So, again, you know, Sprint's been a fantastic partner for a really long time. And hate to see them go, but I think it allows another great company to come in and utilize our fantastic fan base as a catalyst to catapult them to the next level.
Yeah. If let's just say Sports Talk wanted to become the sponsor of the series, and we call it the Corn Cup, what would it set us back?
You know, I don't know. We're not privy to those conversations. Those are between NASCAR and the partners. I think the Sports Business Journal put an article out about 6-8 months ago that they were asking, $50 million a year, but I don't know what that number is. But I can promise you there's a significant ROI attached to it.
Yeah, I'm sure there is. Jimmy Johnson, Jimmy Johnson in Dover. Yeah, that used to be Jeff Gordon's track. It was like every time they went to Dover, Jeff Gordon was going to win or come very close. Now it's Jimmy Johnson after Sunday, and just good enough at the right time to take the lead and then pull away in overtime.
Yeah, Jimmy Johnson, Chad Canales is such a dynamic duo, and the fact that they've won 10 races at a racetrack puts them in pretty elite company. You talk about people like David Pearson, who won 10 races at Darlington, and Dale Earnhardt Sr. and Richard Petty. And you're in that kind of category, you're doing something pretty special. The other thing unique about them winning 10 races is they've done it in 3 different types of race car. They did it in the Gen 4 car, which was the old car, and then the COT, they won a number of races, and now they've won it in the Gen 6 car. That's quite an accomplishment. It shows their dominance at that racetrack.
The COT car. Boy, how quickly we forget the car of tomorrow, huh?
Yeah, that was I remember when we unveiled that car, and I was working on the race team side at the time, and we couldn't figure out, they had that weird fin on it. It didn't have a spoiler. It had the wing, and
yeah.
We just couldn't figure it out, but they've certainly done a nice job rebounding and making the cars more like the cars you see on the showroom floor. The manufacturers are heavily involved in the design process now, and I think that's a great sign of things to come.
Tell you, it was a neat finish to the race because in Johnson and Kevin Harvick, you've got 2 of the best restart drivers. I always like Kyle Busch when he's leading. He's a great restart guy. Usually when he's leading on a restart late, he's going to pull away and win the race. And it's set up very nicely there at Dover to have 2 of the best there at the front at the very end.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. Casey Kane had an opportunity to potentially fight for the win, but he spun his tires on the last restart, which, in my opinion, hurt Martin Truex Jr.'s chance to get the victory lane. But, man, what a story that is. The 78 car again leads the most laps and doesn't get to come away with a victory. Their time's coming. They've certainly shown a lot of speed this year, and I think you'll continue to see them run well, and they'll get a win.
Any other news coming out of the Dover weekend that caught your attention?
No. I mean, I think, it's just kind of the heat of the summer. We're headed to Pocono this weekend. It's a unique racetrack, and we're really excited. We got our test coming next week. I finally got a list of race car drivers for you. You've been asking me for weeks, and I finally got it. We got Jamie McMurray coming. We got Greg Biffle coming. We got Kurt Busch coming. We got Kyle Busch coming. We got last week's winner, Jimmy Johnson, coming. We got a slew of others coming to test at Darlington next Wednesday. If people want to come out and watch, it's free and open to the public. It'll be from 9 to 5 next Wednesday on our backstretch grandstand, which is right off Highway 151. The gates open at 9. They'll be open till 5 o'clock. They can come enjoy the day, and watch some race cars get ready to as they gear up for the Bojangles Southern 500.
Now, for fans who've never been to a test and want to go, what kind of things will they see?
Well, they'll see cars just making laps, making long runs, kind of, the difference between what they'll be doing there and what they'll be doing during the race is it'll be day and night. But they'll look at tires, they'll look at wears. Most of the teams come with a pretty substantial test plan, and they'll go through the changes they want to make to the different components underneath the race car to see how it reacts to the track. They'll look at tire temperatures and tire wears. It's just a good way for them to gauge how their car's reacting, if they have a good package, or what tweaks they need to make before they come back to race in September.
These tests used to be commonplace in a NASCAR season, but not so much anymore, correct?
Yeah, now they only allow a certain number of tests a year. A certain number of racetracks get them. We were very fortunate to get one this year. It did take a little lobbying on my behalf, and I like to say it happened over a bottle of wine in Talladega last year with Mike Helton and Robin Pemberton. But,
yeah.
With our date change, the drivers needed to come see how the cars would react differently than they would in the past, being in April. The heat is a big factor in these races. So it'll be interesting to see how they react to the heat of the summer, and we'll be excited to see cars on the racetrack next week.
Now, these guys, I mean, the fans, they see the drivers on the weekend. They see them doing their thing, Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, whatever the case may be. Probably think the rest of the week they're just hanging out at the house, going out to the lake, dropping a line, or going to the beach or whatever. But this is serious business for these guys. I mean, they come to these tests and they're all business. They're not out there just to shake hands with the fans and pose for pictures, right?
Oh no, this is all business. They are truly. They have a very. In fact, most teams now have their own test team. So the guys that come to the test generally aren't the same people that you'll see working on the cars during the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And these folks spend a lot of time doing R&D, figuring out what new packages will work. And this gives these teams an opportunity to come and test these packages at a racetrack where we race. So it is a very intense process. It's something that they take very seriously, because this is one of only a handful of times in the year they're going to get an opportunity to test on a racetrack that they go back and race at.
Well, looking forward to it. I plan to be there next Wednesday if all goes well. So look forward to seeing you and seeing some of the teams and drivers up close.
Good deal. Look forward to it.
Okay, Chip. Thank you, sir. Appreciate the visit.
All right, man. Have a good night.
You got it, my man. Take care. And again, that test session at Darlington comes up next Wednesday, a week from tomorrow, 9 to 5. Free, open to the public, and as you heard him say, the back stretch bleachers will be open, so you'll need to go in through Gate 3 of Highway 151. The parking lot is located next to the track's administration building, so it'll be a lot of fun. You can also get your picture taken with Darlington's new Chevy SS pace car, which will be located next to the ticket office, and no telling what else you might be able to get done as far as pictures and autographs and things of that nature. So make a note of that. A week from Wednesday at Darlington, get a chance to watch Joey Logano supposed to be there, Ryan Newman, Jimmy Johnson, the Bush brothers, Clint Boyer, Greg Biffle, Eric Amarola. You'll get to see the number 43 in action, Martin Truex Jr. So it's a good list of top drivers that will be on hand at Darlington a week from Wednesday for that testing session. All right. Hit a break here on Sports Talk. Open things back up for your phone calls. 800-956-7266. Get back to talking about Clemson's defense. Get back to talking about Jack Leggett. Get back to talking about the NBA Finals right here on Sports Talk. We're back. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network, 800-956-7266 is our phone number. And let's see here. Look at some stuff on Twitter. K-Mac is our Twitterologist here on Sports Talk. He analyzes and breaks it all down for us on Twitter. I can't hardly make heads or tails of a lot of this gibberish, but I'll do the best I can here. Our poll question, of course, State Player of the Year in baseball. Our buddy John Whittle from the Big Spur responded that, he can't make a decision. He feels like Clark, Crownover, and Martin all have a case. And they do, but we need a number one. Nick tweets in that he likes Carl Wise from the College of Charleston. John tweets in, hard choice between Crownover or Martin. Yeah, they all have great numbers. Tiger, his tweet is Taylor Clark from the College of Charleston. Tim lets me know that the NBA doesn't do the 2-3-2 format anymore. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. I'm sorry. That's one of the huge sports facts that eluded me over the last year. Didn't realize that they had changed the format back to the old way, to the 2-2-1-1-1. I kind of like the 2-3-2. I guess they figured, though, I think people were complaining, saying that it gave the team with the 3 home games too much of an advantage. You get awfully comfortable at home, and you win that one game on the road, you all of a sudden you have a huge home court advantage, just not a regular home court advantage. You get a huge home court advantage. Let's see what else. Anything else here on Twitter that jumps out at me? That's pretty much it. Some folks complaining about the ticket prices again for the South Carolina, North Carolina football game. Well, stay home. Stay home if you don't want to pay $100, $200. They don't care. I mean, really, the ticket buying public is the secondary market. There's a secondary market for ticket buyers, and ticket buyers, you are the secondary market for those who put on sporting events today. The primary market, those people that sit on their butts at home with their 90-inch screens and their Dunkin' Donuts and their Dr. Pepper and watch the games on television. Okay, it's not, they don't care about you people going to the stadiums anymore. You hear today about enhancing the value of going to a game, with the big screens and everything else to make the paying customer feel better about going to a game. But really and truly, television controls everything, and TV people don't want you going to the games. I mean, they'll put mannequins in the stand. If enough people stay home when there are a bunch of empty spaces, they'll just put mannequins in there. They'll paint them the color of the home team. If it's in Columbia, they'll put garnet-colored mannequins in the stands to give you a nice background. Up at Clemson, they'll put orange-colored mannequins. Stay home, watch it on television. That's truly what they want. That's why they're paying all the money. TV's not paying all this money for you to go to the game and watch it. Paying all this money for you to stay home and watch it, so they can charge the advertisers the big dollars. So anyway, stay home. Everybody stay home. Keep the traffic to a minimum. That way I can zip right in. K-Mac thinks he's covering that game. I got news for him. I can zip right into BOA Stadium and watch that ball game. I do hate that it's on a Thursday night at 6 o'clock, though. It does somewhat take away from our audience here on Sports Talk. You think You think going up against a USC or Clemson football game live hurts our audience? Yeah. Speaking of audience, anger letter here. This is from Juan, who again, not Juan, Ron, who again is for the second time upset with us for talking about Dabo Swinney and the Palmetto Family Council, which came up on the show last night. And he writes a very nice letter here detailing his position about a position on some of the things that were being argued about. Not going to go back into all of that. But I do appreciate your opinion and your thoughts about it. At the end here, he says, the worst part of your show is that you host a sports talk show. Why are you wasting so much time on these issues? Well, it involves a football coach in our state. That's all. If it did not involve a football coach in our state, we never would have mentioned it. Back in a moment. All right, I can't wait for these 4 minutes to get over so I can rush home to catch the Florida-Michigan softball game. You going to get over that, Larkin? You're going to rush home to watch championship softball? Florida and Michigan. Florida trying to win the national championship in softball. I'm not making fun. They got a big crowd there in Oklahoma City. That place is packed. And look, they're athletes, and they work just as hard as everybody else, you know. I just have a hard time getting excited about it. But they probably would have a hard time getting excited about this show. So it's sort of a even Steven trade-off there. All right, anything else to pass along to you tonight? I think we've touched on everything that I wanted to tell you about. We haven't I'll tell you some of these other folks on the Hall of Fame ballot. Danny Ford and Jim Carlin. You know, if I had to pick, I'd have to pick Danny Ford, right? I mean, national championship coach and a lot of wins in his time at Clemson. Should have had a lot more wins if things hadn't gone awry for him there in the late 80s. Boy, no telling. I mean, if things hadn't messed up for Danny Ford in the late 80s, and he's as much to blame as anybody else, he probably realizes that now, he'd still be coaching at Clemson, I guess. See, 89 was his last year, right? Yeah, 89 was his last year. That was, I got to do some quick math here. Let's see, 10, carry my 1. It's 09, 20. What's that? 20, 09, it's 26, about 26 years ago. Yeah, 26, 89. He started in 78, 89. That's 12, 38. He'd be in about his 38th year. God, can you imagine? Danny Ford in about his 38th year as Clemson's football coach, averaging about probably 9 wins a year. I mean, he would have kept it going. But then again, would Danny Ford have changed with the times? Here's the question. Would Danny Ford run the spread? Would he run the spread? Imagine some of the quarterbacks that he had. Well, there weren't too many of them, I don't think, would have been good spread quarterbacks. Probably the one he recruited who might have been really good in the spread was Michael Carr out of Amite, Louisiana. Number 1 option quarterback in the country. Unfortunately, broke his arm in his freshman year and then never got it going. Ended up transferring to UTEP, I think it was. Anyway, yeah, I would think Danny Ford, talking between Danny Ford and Jim Carlin in particular, but maybe this entire list of coaches, perhaps Danny Ford deserves to be in that Hall of Fame. That will do it. Thank you, Larkin Belton. Thank you, Steak Man. Thanks to all of you out there listening tonight. And we'll see you tomorrow night on Sports Talk.